Hello simulated race car fans, welcome back to the Game of Muscle YouTube channel and welcome to this video where we answer the question, are direct drive wheels cheating? Yes! Yes, they are cheating. Simulators are 100% pay to win, it turns out. Pro pedals, pro wheel, it's cheating. It makes simulators a lot easier than if you're using worse equipment. Disgusting, I know, absolutely disgusting. But I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more depth and nuance, hopefully, through the power of Assetto Corsa with the Lotus Type 49, some AI, Donington Park in the East Midlands, which is not in the Middle East. Don't make that mistake. Many dyslexics trying to fly to the United Kingdom accidentally end up in the Middle East when they're trying to book their flight to East Midlands. It's hard being dyslexic, what can I say? But we're going to use this track, this car, Assetto Corsa, and the SW20 direct drive wheel to talk a little bit about how and why direct drive wheels are cheating, and also why it may or may not matter. This is the worst camera angle for actually trying to get your face in shot, but we'll go with it. Why not? Let's drive here. We're going to crash a lot probably because I can't drive, and we'll talk about that as well. So let's get going. Here we go. T1. Take it easy. AI on a pretty low setting because I didn't want to have to use up all my brain power to actually not drive into them. So hopefully we set that up right. But why do I feel that direct drive wheels are cheating and sim racing is pay to win? Well, the biggest reason that a direct drive wheel is cheating or makes sim racing easier is the nature of its self-aligning, and that, for those of you that don't know, is how the wheel corrects itself from the basically putting the car in the path of least resistance. When you turn right, the car kind of wants to resist that movement. It wants to keep going where it can go the easiest without using the least amount of effort, and the car will inherently straighten itself out. So when the back of a car steps out, the wheels at the front will try and correct the car, and then through the force feedback of your wheel, the car is then corrected. Your input automatically corrects the car in the game. It's a really nice little communication between the hardware and the simulator. Now, unfortunately, consumer force feedback wheels like the G29, T300, or any of those mass market wheels that are sort of in the sub £300 price point, unfortunately they just don't have the rotational speed, the actual speed at which force feedback can turn the steering wheel left or right, and they don't have the accuracy in terms of the delivery of the force feedback and the strength of the force feedback to capture what the game is telling the wheel to keep the wheel with the game 1-to-1. Now the issue with that is that the steering wheel then does not correct the car as it would in real life, forcing the sim racer to then have to learn a sort of in-between and use the force feedback that they do feel through the wheel to inform them on how to drive over the top of the force feedback in the wheel to then get the car to respond appropriately in game. Now that sounded rather convoluted and complicated. I hope I haven't lost you there. But the end result is, when you plug in a direct drive wheel like this beautiful Simplicity SW20, which is the SimuCube, you don't have to use your sort of learnt driving simulator interpretation of force feedback from your given force feedback wheel. You literally just let the car drive itself, and you then just respond to what the car's doing in a very literal and rather chilled out way, to the extent that when you use a direct drive wheel initially, especially if you've come from like a G29 or T300, which is what I previously used, you will find that you actually tire yourself out from overdriving the car because you've got so used to using those consumer wheels that you feel like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, but actually you don't. You can just let the car, for the most part, drive itself. And if you watch a lot of, especially with these vintage Lotus Type 49 cars, you watch the onboards of drivers that are very good at driving in real life, they don't actually do that much in the way of input. They let the car drive itself, and they kind of go with the flow of the physics and the vehicle, and that is really the key to driving fast and the key to being attractive to the opposite sex, which is why we all do sim racing, of course. Now, of course, the counter argument to if a direct drive wheel cheating would be that if you gave people like David Greco or Gregor Hutu a mouse and a week in the simulator, they would probably still put in some of the best lap times possible. You'd probably even give them a Mad Catz wheel and they would think it was some luxurious piece of equipment. But at the end of the day, let's face it, Gregor Hutu and David Greco and the Yield can't really people. They're aliens wearing human flesh upon their alien super duper speedy minds, and so we could discard that point straight away. But joking aside, at the end of the day, if you look at other sports and sporting equipment, you know, you can give many pro athletes an absolute garbage piece of equipment and they will still do something pretty spectacular with it. But if you give them a slight incremental improvement in equipment, it gives them that little bit of an edge over someone that doesn't have access to that equipment, and that allows them to potentially get the upper hand in a 1v1 situation between someone that's at a very similar skill level. Now, when it comes to someone that's just a chimpanzee in a sim rig racing online semi-casually, you definitely notice with a direct drive wheel a massive boost in consistency. And I also think that this maybe wouldn't apply to the same level with alien drivers, but I think it would still have an effect in the fact that when you have stronger force feedback that's very neatly one-to-one with the simulator, assuming the simulator also has realistic force feedback that's of use, then I can't see how that doesn't give you anything but an advantage, or makes it far less likely that you would make a potential silly error in the course of a long race. I'm not sure if it would really have an effect when it comes to doing hot laps, because hot laps can be done with no force feedback and it's more just a case of very precise rote memorization, something more akin to playing Super Meat Boy than it is actual approximation of real-world race driving. Now, of course, the other aspect with the direct drive wheel that I think a lot of people overlook is that you don't have to run a direct drive wheel with really high force feedback, and even if you were to get a direct drive wheel for its beautiful force feedback and its one-to-one or near one-to-one force feedback with the simulator, you can turn the force feedback off and you will have something that produces very free input into the games with no real dampening or no inconsistent dampening. It's a very consistent input, if that makes sense, which I think, again, logically speaking, should make it easier to be precise in the simulator with the force feedback off, even compared to, thanks AI, even compared to, he just drove into the pit wall, even compared to a consumer wheel with its force feedback off. Now, the G29, one of the reasons why I really like the G25 was the fact that it didn't actually have that much dampening, and when you turn the force feedback very low, it doesn't get in the way of your input. So it's one of the reasons why that wheel was so good, I think, particularly for people doing competitive sim racing or trying to be as fast as possible. But you get that with a direct drive wheel. You can turn the force feedback down if you want, maybe lose some of that really nice self-aligning force feedback and the information from the simulator, but still have something that's as free as a G25 when it comes to just putting those subtle inputs into the game. So even in that scenario with no force feedback, I think again a direct drive wheel will be better and is an easier input device and therefore cheating compared to a non-direct drive wheel. Now, it's worth saying though as well, obviously the main reason why most people buy a direct drive wheel, or the main reason why someone like me that's never going to be putting in incredible alien lap times into a simulator. The reason why I love direct drive wheels is just the immersive quality that you get from them. You've got the fact that you've got the self-aligning and it's easier to use, and you know, it makes mistakes harder to make. That's all very nice, and I do appreciate that. It does help make me look a little bit better when I'm streaming than the incompetent buffoon that I am. I appreciate that. But ultimately, when you work the force feedback up a fair amount, maybe not even 100%, but to the point where you get about 15 or so Newton meters of force at peak force, when you whack that force feedback up and you're going through a racetrack and you're sort of squeezing your steering wheel and holding on a bit for dear life, whilst also having the car tug at your arms, letting you really feel a sort of idea of how much force would be going through these types of vehicles, what would be going through the tyres and what would be going through the steering column, letting you feel that through the wheel, and then letting you feel all those subtle track bumps and nuanced little details there and little cambers and stuff through the force feedback in really nice, delicate ways. The immersion you get from a direct drive wheel is just unparalleled, and the fact that it's so immersive and so enjoyable will, of course, make you just want to spend more and more time driving in your simulator, having fun, and incidentally, getting better at sim racing, which will then make you get better because you're spending more time doing it due to the fact that it's so good. So again, it is actually cheating. In all ways that we possibly look at this, a direct drive wheel is out and out cheating. They need to be banned. Ban direct drive doping in esport. So yes, I think we're just going off on one here as usual. But I have to say, I do think direct drive wheels and high-end simulation equipment is effectively cheating. There's no real doubt about it that a direct drive wheel gives you more information. It makes the driving easier. It makes the driving more enjoyable as well. It makes the driving easier, more information. It automatically corrects your mistakes. It makes it a lot harder to make mistakes. And if you want to, you can turn the force feedback down, or you can set it up exactly however you want it to get force feedback or steering from the simulator in a way that's most accommodating to you, and in ways that just simply aren't possible from non-direct drive wheels. Now, of course, we're not even really gone into pedals, and pedals are where most of the time is made when it comes to competitive sim racing. You know, the difference between a load cell pedal and a potentiometer-based pedal is, you know, that's a whole other thing, and that is unequivocally, categorically, will have a big impact on raw lap times. But this video is about direct drive wheels, not pedals, so we won't talk about that. But yeah, ultimately, sim racing is pay to win. We should all be very upset with ourselves. Look what's being created. No one should be happy. But if anything, well, this has been a total meandering tour of buffoonery. If anything, what you should have learnt from this video is that you need to get a direct drive wheel, is what I'm saying. Sorry. You have to get a direct drive wheel. Oh dear. I hope you enjoyed this little talk. This car is absolutely fantastic. This Lotus Type 49. You give it a go. If you get a chance to give it a go with a direct drive wheel, but it'll blow your mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if you like this format. This is a little bit of an experimentation to kind of talk and drive with a question. We get asked a lot of questions, so I'm going to try and answer them. And hopefully we'll get better at answering them. I'm not sure if that will happen, but we can pretend we'll get better, and maybe it will happen. But yeah, well, look out for our live streams. We stream quite a lot most evenings, and we normally stream for like a couple of hours at least, sometimes more, and normally around about 5 PM onwards GMT. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to use our Amazon UK link. It's in the description if you're buying stuff on Amazon. Hotels, houses, sports cars, really appreciate that. And we've also got a Fanatec affiliate link. All these things help us spend more time in the sim rig and not have a real job, so really appreciate you guys doing all that, using them. Till the next video, guys, take care. Worst camera angle. This is the worst camera angle in the world. Take care, and goodbye.